Good morning and welcome to another edition of United Ways. What's the Word Wednesdays? My name is Audrey Walker, and today we're going to be chatting with the Connect 313 Coalition, who will provide updates on the Affordable Connectivity Plan and the City of Detroit's Fiber Infrastructure Internet Plan. Say that 3 times fast, right? Thank you so much for joining us. The last 10 minutes of today's conversation are reserved for questions. So please leave your questions in the Q&A box if you're watching on Zoom or the comment box on Facebook. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome back to our town hall, Joshua Edmonds, Director of Digital Inclusion at the City of Detroit and head of the Connect 313 Coalition. Joshua is a longtime advocate for digital equity, working to help families in our region get access to internet and devices, creating strategies and fundraising dollars to advance digital inclusion for students, seniors, and low-income families. Joshua earned his master's in public policy from Howard University. And before his current role at the City of Detroit, he served in fellowships around digital inclusion in the Poverty Solutions Initiative at the University of Michigan's Ford School of Public Policy, as well as the Cleveland Foundation. So Joshua, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you for the very kind bio.
Yes.
So I can take over from here?
Yes.
Great.
Please.
All right. So first things first, I do want to say a big thanks to you all, because the very first time we did this town hall, that was when we were doing the emergency broadband benefit, which quite frankly, a big thanks again to everybody, because we had over 82,000 families enroll in that in less than a year. And so I think that's a really great testament to all the people at the table, the mentioned and the unmentioned. And so just want to lead with that. However, I'm going to share my screen for a bit. I'm going to walk you all through not only our internet plan on the city side for what we want to do beyond, but also give you a high-level understanding of the Affordable Connectivity Program. I do only have 14 minutes to do this, so everyone, please, if I'm talking too fast, please feel free to reach out to me so I can clarify anything that I might have said today that wasn't very clear at the onset. And so, all right, so we're going to discuss the Affordable Connectivity Program, otherwise known as ACP, as well as our Internet Infrastructure Plan. But first things first, the Affordable Connectivity Program, we're going to touch on what is the benefit, who's eligible, and how can you all apply. A lot of text here, but the ACP, it's a monthly internet benefit, very similar to the emergency broadband benefit. So some of you all remember that was a $50 a month discount before. Now it's a $30 a month discount. You might see $75 a month floating out there. We are not eligible for that. That is strictly for tribal communities. However, there is a one-time discount for up to $100 for a laptop or desktop or tablet purchased through a participating provider. This is a thing. You are not going to see our larger providers participating in that, unfortunately. So it is something that you're going to see people mention in other communities. However, in Detroit, we're going to have to look for maybe one of those smaller providers to see if they're going to be participating. That said, a household is eligible. There's a lot of different ways that one can be eligible, obviously, as you see, but if your income is at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, if you're receiving any type of federal and or state aid, if you received a Pell Grant within the award year. Now, that doesn't mean if you went to college in 2008 and you had a Pell Grant then, no, it's got to be in the current award year. In addition to that, if you are someone in your household is receiving a free or reduced lunch, as well as if you are participating in any of the internet providers' low-income programs. For example, if Comcast, they have Internet Essentials, so if you're already participating in that, you're eligible. AT&T has AT&T Access, and it's so any of those low-cost internet programs, if you're already participating, you are eligible for this. Now, the steps to enroll in this benefit, you can go to acpbenefit.org, and this is really where, if you know someone who isn't that internet savvy, but who would like to take advantage of this, or who needs to take advantage of this, this is where we got to help them out. And at acpbenefit.org, you're going to be able to find the mail-in application. So even being able to print that out. Obviously, we recognize that people on the wrong side of the digital divide, and directing them to an online resource isn't the best thing, but that's what we have right now. In addition to that, If you apply to this benefit, you at the same time have to select a service plan, meaning if I apply to this benefit tomorrow, or I might receive word back saying that, hey, you've been accepted into the program. At the same time, you still have to select your internet provider. And so whether that's Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whomever, you still have to select beyond receiving the initial confirmation of you getting the benefit. So that is just something I want to throw out there, that you have to select. And if you have an offering that you're interested in, make sure that you reach out to, again, any of those internet providers and just get a little bit more information about what they're offering within this plan. Now, some of you all had the emergency broadband benefit, and you're like, well, wait, you said at the beginning 82,000 people or households were enrolled last year. What happened to them? The emergency broadband benefit ended March 1st, and we automatically transferred a lot of these people over. So if you already had the emergency broadband benefit, then there's nothing really more that you need to do. You are automatically transferred over. But at the same time, just want to flag that, for some people who might have said, wait, I had a $50 a month subsidy, why am I only seeing $30 now? Because it is a different program and it's a lesser allocation. And so I just want to flag that. So the other piece of this, the FCC, they need a lot of outreach here. The president, the vice president has been very vocal about how we need outreach. And so a few things that one can do. One, you can, if you're an organization or if you're a community ambassador with Connect 313, you can send an email to outreach@fcc.gov. There, they develop a lot of materials and toolkits that you can share with your residents. At the same time, and this is something that we'll be doing on the broader Connect 313 side, we will be requesting an ACP speaker from the FCC who's going to be able to brief us collectively on exactly what's happening. And so I want to flag that opportunity where once we're able to select a date and once we're able to book that, we will definitely communicate with all of our Connect 313 stakeholders and organizations who want to hear directly from the FCC themselves about this program. We'll do that. So look at me as a prologue before the actual book starts, and that I'm just giving you the summarized version. When we have the FCC on board, they're going to be talking about this in a lot more detail. So do not want to miss that if this is something of interest to you all. Now, there's several resources here, and we'll definitely be sharing this slide deck with you also. No worries there, but specifically, the thing that I want to highlight is that Connect 313 call center. So all these other ones that you see are really tied to what the FCC is offering, FAQs, toolkits, how to apply, the contact information, the email. However, we do have our own call center. That number is 313-241-7618. That is something that we have done in partnership with our funders and our strategic partners, and we absolutely want to take advantage of that call center as much as possible. So more than anything, that call center cannot enroll you in the benefit specifically, but it can provide you a lot more information on local options in Detroit. And I would strongly suggest that we push that out as much as possible. Now, the other piece of this equation, the Detroit Internet Access Plan. So, this is something where you might have heard about fiber, you might have heard about infrastructure and us wanting to do something. This pasted link here, that's the link to the actual plan. It's on our website. So even if you're trying to figure out where you can find it, honestly, you can just type in City of Detroit fiber optic plan or City of Detroit Internet Access Plan. And it's going to pop up. It's on our city website if you want to read a little bit more about what we're doing. But at a high level, we want every Detroiter to have affordable, reliable, and abundant digital access that elevates local communities and accelerates opportunities. This is an emphasis on deploying what we refer to as fiber. Right here, you have the president obviously signing legislation, and what we want to highlight here is we are in line with what the president is saying in Building Back Better, that we have a strong emphasis on infrastructure, that all this money that's going to infrastructure, roads, bridges, broadband, we want to make sure that Detroit is receiving our portion of that, and that we are able to build a fiber optic infrastructure in every neighborhood in this city. Now, we're doing it in what's called an open access capacity. This might be a little bit more technical, so bear with me. But right now, we have the traditional internet model in Detroit, where you have AT&T or Comcast, and they're providing one internet solution to your household. So they're doing installation, they'll plug in something to your router, and you have one strand. What we want to do in an open access capacity is we want to lay the fiber in the community. However, we want to then allow any provider then provide services. And so whether that's Comcast, AT&T, or a litany of other partners who would essentially be able to provide services to Detroiters, essentially giving Detroiters more options. And so we believe that an internet subsidy by way of the Affordable Connectivity Program is great, but we also believe that if we're able to create a marketplace experience where Detroiters have more choice and more options, we are not going to have to rely on an internet subsidy to have more affordable internet. And so what are we doing right now in that plan? There's a neighborhood called Hope Village. Some of you might be familiar with them. But by the end of the year, I think a lot more people will be, because Hope Village had a 45-day internet outage last year. Last fall, obviously during a pandemic, they had a very bad outage. And for us, we believe that installing fiber in that community comes first. And so as we want to build back better, we're going to have an emphasis there. So we are going to be placing a $10 million investment in Hope Village to be the start of this broader fiber plan. And so we held 2 community meetings on April 20th, and we'll be seeking to hold additional meetings in that community just so that they're very, very aware of what's coming. We obviously want to do this in other parts of the city, but again, Hope Village had that 45-day outage, and we want to be very responsive to our residents. I will also say that this entire plan, specifically the open access side, came from a recommendation within Connect 313. And so wanted to be able to lift up the leadership of David Underwood, who's our devices and connectivity chair within Connect 313, who saw fit to make the point that the city should consider what was feasible in doing this plan. So also want to highlight that we were responding not only within Connect 313 to the community members there, but also responding to the community members within Hope Village to say that a 45-day internet outage won't ever happen again there. And so our timeline, in 2022, already we have actually released the RFP for construction in Hope Village. And June, we look to select a vendor, and we look to begin construction in Hope Village this summer. And later on this year, we can estimate that we will have Detroiters in Hope Village being able to take advantage of the service. Now, not everyone is going to have it this year. It's going to take, I think it's an 18-month timeline overall to do all of Hope Village. However, we do believe that before year's end, there should be some households connected. In addition to that, for us to do the rest of the city, there is currently $42 billion specifically earmarked to broadband expansion. Our ask is directly in line with what the president has requested cities to consider. And so right now, the state of Michigan has to release some of the funding guidelines for us to go after that. And so while we can say things are certain with Hope Village, that's because we're using our city's American Rescue Plan money. The rest of the money is going to rest with the state, and the state is going to have to essentially allocate money to Detroit. And so moving forward, we are going to be working very closely with the state to inform them of what our need is and how we're going to be able to do this through the entire city. Now, the little disclaimer at the bottom, the timeline is subject to change based on availability of resources. Currently, obviously, there's some, you all see gas prices and you see airline prices maybe, and a combination of other things, and there's a labor shortage. And so for us to do this in the entire city, we have estimates, but at the same time, a lot of this stuff is just going to change based on the market. And so we are still committed to our mission of deploying this to every single household in the city. But it's just one of those things that based on the availability of resources, we just have to throw out that disclaimer. I believe I was able to do this within 14 minutes. And so I'm going to stop there and answer any questions that anyone has.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we do have a few questions. I know that was a lot of great information, and you always do such a great job at breaking it down into being really understandable for everyone. But I have a couple of questions based on the information you shared. For someone who wants to learn more about the Affordable Connectivity Plan, can you tell us again how they would go about enrolling in the program, and then a little bit about what that enrollment experience is like?
Yep, so they can go to acpbenefit.org, and at acpbenefit.org, that has all the information that they'll need. In regards to the enrollment experience, it's a bit of a, they're going to say 2-step process. I think it's a 3-step process.
Okay.
Because at the onset, what you're going to have to do is you're going to become what they call verified. So to be verified, you have to obviously go to still acpbenefit.org, and it'll still direct you through these steps. However, the Universal Service Administration Company, or USAC, essentially has received this funding. Their job is to make sure that you are eligible to be a participant in this program. And so when we had that slide where we were determining eligibility, one would have to upload to some degree some proof of them receiving any type of aid that would then qualify for them to be participating in this program. Once they then get verified, they're then able to then select whatever internet provider makes the most sense for them. So once they're able to select that internet provider, they then have to enroll in the internet provider's program. And so it's still a 3-step process. And this will require, if you're not doing the mail-in option, this will require you to have an email address. And so that's just something I want to flag, that if someone does not have an email address or they don't know what their email address is, they are going to need that email address, because that's how they're going to communicate the verification status.
Okay. And then for someone, if they say, oh, I received this benefit, do they select the internet provider prior to that or after, kind of in the midst of that?
Again, so first step, you got to get verified. Second step, you select your provider. And then the third step, that's when you would enroll. However, one thing that we have done, because we know that 3-step process, that's tricky. So that's why we've invested in that local call center. So again, that 313-241-7618, they can call and talk to a Detroiter and they can walk them through all those steps. And that's the piece where, like, we don't want it to be just text out there and just going to a website. Like, no, we'd rather have people talk to someone, just make sure that they're in line with one of our Connect 3 and 3 values, which what we say, we progress at the speed of trust. And so if someone doesn't trust this process just quite yet, this is a progression tool to allow them to do that.
Definitely. And sometimes it's just easier to talk it through, right?
Absolutely.
And is there a deadline to enroll in the program?
No, well, yes and no.
Okay.
So the deadline, it's rolling. So for example, they put in, the federal government put in $14.2 billion into this program. That's billions with a B. That being said, there are a lot of people who are eligible for this program nationally. And so the longer someone waits, the less they're going to have the benefit, because the benefit is going to go until the money is exhausted.
Right.
That said, originally we expected this benefit to last for about 4 to 5 years. Based on current spend, it's looking like it's going to last for about 2 years. And so this is something where 2 years is still great to have discount internet. However, this is where I would just strongly urge people not to wait, to sign up as soon as they can, so that way they can save money on their internet.
And I remember that from the last time we talked, the urgency piece of saying, don't wait because
Absolutely.
of that. Yep, I remember that. On top of connecting people, with programs to make internet services more affordable, can you mention if there is anything available as far as making like devices more affordable, and or just talk about some other services or programs that people can utilize Connect 313 for?
So Connect 313 is an aggregate. So I don't want to make it seem like it's any member that's in Connect 313 can provide services, but it's not like Connect 313 is directly going to be providing services to residents in that capacity. That being said, with respect to our call center, as people are able to begin having conversations there, we will be directing folks to some of our participating sites on the ground. And so Brilliant Detroit is a really great example of that, who has neighborhood technology hubs throughout the city who are providing, one, not only digital literacy training, but also computers, not necessarily for residents to take home, but for them to be able to use within specifically on those sites. In addition to that, we have a very strong partner in Human IT. And Human IT is a nonprofit device refurbisher within the city of Detroit. They're actually headquartered at Focus Hope, and they have been very instrumental in providing tech support to residents, as well as providing computers for free or low cost to residents as well. I would say separately from that, Connect 313, we do have the ability to make funding decisions by way of our community governance process. And so if someone has an idea or something, they can also submit a recommendation. And that recommendation can then be held up, and then the community can provide feedback on that. And then if it is in line with our goals of obviously bridging the digital divide, that is something that we can consider too.
Mhm. And we had a question here. I believe you had a slide on it, just going back to the affordable connectivity plan. But
Yeah.
can you explain how eligibility is established? I believe this is kind of the verification process, perhaps.
Yeah. So eligibility is established by way of, so there's several ways. One, if you have an income at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. Two, you participate in assistance programs such as SNAP, Medicaid, federal public housing, as Social Security, WIC, or Lifeline. If you have received a Pell Grant in the current award year, let's see, I have another one. If you are receiving a free or reduced lunch, or if you're eligible to receive that. So if you're, probably have a child in Detroit Public Schools or the charter schools in Detroit, then most likely you're eligible. As well as if you are meeting the criteria for a Comcast Internet Essentials program or an AT&T Access program, then you are eligible as well. Now, in order to prove that you're eligible, then you would need some type of documented proof, which is why you need the email, so that way you can upload when you go to acpbenefit.org and you start your application. There will be a way to upload that proof of that. And once you upload that, they'll then verify you, and then you're eligible to participate within the program.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you so much for providing, especially those step-by-step breakdowns too of how what people can expect and what they need to really utilize this program, and all of the information, again, just updating us and continually keeping us updated on what Connect 313 is doing, and getting, affordable internet in the city to every Detroiter. I'm sure we'll hear back from you at some point soon. And I know we have mentioned we are sharing off the slides, and we will have this information available too on our website as well. So I just really want to thank you for joining us today, Joshua, and coming on our town hall again.
No, I appreciate it. And again, the success of our first one really allowed us to be in the position to make sure Detroiters were able to enroll in that and take advantage of that. So a huge thanks to you all for organizing it and inviting me to be able to share the great work of Connect 313 and all of our partners. In addition, I think the same is going to be said around the Affordable Connectivity Program. I believe this is our first time that we've actually talked about this in this capacity.
Yes.
So thankful that it was with you all.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And just want to mention that as a reminder for anyone in our community who's experiencing a need, our 211 helpline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call 211, and we maintain a running list of available services in the community that can connect you to the support you need. So you can also look up resources in your area by using our 211 resource database at unitedwaysem.org/211. We'd love to invite you to join us for our equity challenge that's coming up. So this is our second annual equity challenge. It starts May 20th, and you can join us in this through virtual community events and daily weekday activities, where we will deepen our understanding of ourselves and our community and inequities that we face. So I really encourage you to join. You won't be disappointed, and you'll definitely learn something. It's a great way to really expand your own knowledge on equity in our community. And then finally, our next town hall, to coincide with the equity challenge, our next town hall will be on May 18th, where we will discuss Black maternal health and be joined by the groups Birth Detroit and Mothering Justice. And you can see all of our previous town halls. You can visit unitedwaysem.org/virtual town halls. The website is included in the chat box. I thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that we will see you again soon. Please stay safe and continue to live united.